Hello everyone, welcome back for another episode of Bible Basics. Today we're talking about creation. Now I'm just going to get into a bunch of Bible, and then I'm going to tell you some facts that have proven that creation exists, and that evolution is false. Also, first let's get into some Bible. It says, Genesis 1, which is the first book of the Bible. It says, "In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, Let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, and that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day." So on day one, God created the day and the night. Verse 6. Next, "And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and it divided the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and in the evening and the morning were the second day." So here God separated the upper atmosphere from the lower atmosphere. Here, verse 9. "And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And in the evening and the morning were the third day." So on the third day, God made a dry land, and he separated the seas. And then he did it so that the earth brought forth grass and trees. He's on all of the floral decorations that there is today. And that was on day 3. And then verse 14. "And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let there be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament and of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the 4th day." So on the 4th day, God created the sun, moon, and stars. Or as in all of the galaxies and all of that to go with it. Verse 20. "And God said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales and every and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the 5th day." So on day 5, God created fish and birds. Verse 24. "And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So on day 6, God created all the land animals, and then he created man. And here's the last day of creation. Thus the heaven, chapter 2 of Genesis. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the 7th day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. So there we go. Oh, we have the creation story. Or it's the story of how God made the heaven, made it all that is today, and except for which man has built. We saw that God created the day and the night, the separation of the galaxy, or the upper atmosphere from the lower atmosphere. Excuse me 1 second. A little thirsty after that. All that reading. We saw that he separated the firmament, so outer space, from the earth. He made the dry lands and the seas. And all the grass and trees. He made the sun, moon, and stars. He made the fish and birds. Then he made all the land animals, and then he made us. That's how we used to be. Is to believe how everyone today used to back in the day. They literally believed this to be so. Oh, as Christians, we still believe it to be so. Scientists have tried to prove to us that evolution is real. And they have failed so many times. But it's being so pushed. So today I'm going to give you some. This is the creation story, right? And then I'm going to give you some examples from this book right here. They're called the Answers. I don't know if you can read it very well. It's a series of follow-up Bible studies on life's key questions. And it's by Keith. So it's the Answers by Keith Piper. He did his research very well. I'm going to read you some things he figured out to support the biblical account of creation. Now, if you want a really cool way to see how creation happened, go to the Creation Museum in Kentucky. Okay, it is amazing. I went to there, and then the Ark Encounter, which we'll get to the Ark later in another episode. So it is amazing. It literally just takes the Bible and brings it to life. And there's things there that do support the Bible account of creation, and they have evidences for that as well. Well, and then today I'm going to give you some things too about how we've come from believing the biblical account of creation to evolution. And I'll give you some examples of that then in just a quick second. So, here we have the biblical account of creation. Now I'm going to give you some fun facts about evolution. Evolution has been around, and in the definition of evolution, okay, let me back up for a second. In one class, unless I have here in college, we're recapping kind of things we've learned already. We're learning, we're going through, since the beginning, we're going to be doing We're in the study of anthropology. Anthropology, simply put, is the study of man and how man came about, how man behaves, that kind of thing. And one of the first lessons we did, it was on the origin of man. And then we talked about how evolutionists try to disprove the Bible a little bit. Now, I know science geek, but I'll give you some fun things. Some fun facts. Next, the first law of thermodynamics says that energy can't be created and it can't be destroyed. Right now, according to evolutionists, they're kind of stumped at this one. Because they're like, okay, energy is there, but it can't be created, it can't be destroyed. Right, so they're like, yeah, the whole Big Bang thing happens, and energy is just there. We don't know how to explain it. Like, there was nothing, and now it's here. And we're like, they try to put this huge cycle on how it happens. And then also the second law of thermodynamics states everything eventually trends towards disorder and chaos. So you have a nice car. So simply put, you have a nice car and it's brand new. Eventually, it's going to get rusty. It's going to fall apart. Or, I know that from experience. And it's with cars and other such things. Laundry. So basically, everything tends to fall apart. Or to simply put what the second law of thermodynamics says. Now, evolution says, as evolution is change over time, they believe everything can go from bad to better. Alright, now yes, some things can do that, but they're simply saying, I think the best way to illustrate it is I have a pen right here, I have a pencil right here. Here, evolution says, as this pencil will eventually become a pen. You just gotta give it time. Now, I don't know about you, but these are two completely different things. Now, can I take the ink from this and just put it in this pencil? Possibly. But that doesn't make this a pen. And because just looking at them, they're two different complete sizes. Sorry about that, there was something that happens. So, how can this blue pen become a pencil? Evolution says yes. But common sense says no. Can this pencil fit inside this pen? Yes. But does that make this a pencil? Possibly. It would function the same as a pencil. If I took the pencil lead from in this, took out the ink from in this, then it would function as a pencil. But it's not meant to be a pencil. And so this is meant to be a pencil. This is meant to be a pen. And evolution says that things can go from. So it says that this can be from a pencil. It says that this can be a pen. This can be a pencil, even though they're two completely different things. Another theory I heard for trying to believe in evolution is like believing a tornado can go through a junkyard, and then when the tornado ends, there's a 747 out there. And some of you think, wow, that's pretty cool. Well, I mean, that would be awesome if that were the case. And you just go, hey, tornado, come here. Or make me an airplane. But that's kind of how evolutionists think. They think that everything happened from a huge explosion. Now, I don't know about you. I like watching fireworks. Fireworks are awesome. But I've never seen an explosion, create something. Now, fireworks, they have this special powder that makes them light up and all that fun stuff. But I've never seen something go boom, and there was something brand new there. It has a hole in the ground from a big firework. Or that's possible. Well, I've never seen a firework explode and there's a book. I've never seen that. That's how evolutionists think. Because they're trying to take things that makes sense for biblical creation and giving it their own ideas, their own things. And this really, the whole theory of evolution is simply because people don't believe what God says. As that's the whole thing of it. They just don't believe what God says. Now the reason it took off so big, and is such a big thing today, is all thanks to one man, and one book he wrote. Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin wrote the book Origin of Species. He believed in evolution. But because of his book, The Origin of Species, it just exploded. The theory of evolution just exploded, and to the point now where we're literally teaching evolution in school, when before we used to teach the Bible. And in this class, last time in, the teacher had a video. It was a short clip of a video. Sorry, another distraction. And he had a short clip of video. It was two evolutionists. They were talking, I think, kind of like doing question and answers to each other, like a big meeting or something. And something that stuck out to me was in this clip. If the one evolutionist was like, okay, basically, they said, okay, we both believe in evolution, but before Charles Darwin, or before everything is where it is how did we believe in it before? How did we explain it? And his other guy there goes, before Charles Darwin wrote his book, Origin of Species, we couldn't explain. We had nothing to back up our statements. And so we had no way of... Someone would go, okay, you claim to be an evolutionist. Yes, give me some backing here. How do you explain this? Yes, and they're like, we really can't. We don't have some concrete evidence to give us that Charles Darwin came around with his book of Origin of Species, and they're like, okay, here's a guy. He literally traveled the world doing this study when he wrote the book. But they're like, okay, hey, we have this book now. Now we have what this guy says. As here's our evidence. And it's all because of a guy writing a book with his own ideas, his own mindset, his own imagination of how things happened, and that we're at to where we're at today. Okay. But if we go with the biblical standpoint, here, I'm going to read you some things that support what the Bible says from the book, the Answers book, right here. Now, this is a very large book. It's a pretty large book. But it has a lot of answers. Which is why it's the Answers book. Okay, I'm going to read you some things that support, or some things. So I'm going to read it to you. I'm just going to read it how it's written. And the first part of this part already gives some Bible verses. I'll just read you a lot of them, quite a few of them we read already in Genesis. And then there's just a bunch of different Bible verses that have the word created. Created them. There's like 18 of them that have created, creator, and how all that goes. But I'm going to read you some things, and then gets into evidences. Evidences for a young Earth, which creationists claim to be like millions of years old. Well, but creation puts Earth around 6,000 years. And then evidences from stars. Ours, the galaxy star clusters, where there's billions of spirals with billions of stars. As here, I'm just read it to you. Galaxy star clusters, spirals with billions of stars, move so rapidly that they would not stay together if the universe were very old. basically what it's saying is the fun spirals with millions and billions of stars, or as the galaxy star clusters, if they were super old, they wouldn't be able to hold together very long. Abundant hydrogen in stars. Alright, hydrogen in stars is continually being converted into helium. Hydrogen cannot be made from other elements. Fred Hoyle states that if the universe were as old as Big Bang theorists think, then there would be little hydrogen left, as it would be converted to helium by now. Spectra from stars reveal abundant hydrogen in stars. This implies a young universe. Let me see what other fun things are. Ooh, there's a lot of fun things here. Oh, meteoroids are evidence from other planets. Meteoroids bombing Saturn's rings. Meteoroids bombarding Saturn rings would have destroyed them in less than 10,000 years. By W.B. Brown on that clips from W.T. Brown's book In the Beginning, page 18. Jupiter's moons. Now, I've seen the moons on Jupiter through a telescope. Jupiter's moons through a telescope. Very awesome. Jupiter's moons. If they evolved, they would be physically alike, having the same amount of volcanoes and impact craters, but this is not so. Evolution claims that all planets were molten 5 billion years ago, and volcanic activity stopped 4 billion years ago as they cooled. The moons Ganymede and Callisto have no volcanoes and many impact craters. Europa has no volcanoes and no impact craters. Io has 7 active volcanoes and no impact craters. Titan has volcanoes. Interesting. Evidences from our moon. Linear quakes, lava flows, and gas emissions. Linear quakes, lava flows, and gas emissions show the moon is not a cold, dead body. It is still adjusting to inner stresses and not yet in thermal equilibrium. If it were 5 billion years old, it would not show such thermal activity. Moon dust. This is a fun one. Moon dust from meteor dust and from solar radiation breaking surface rocks to dust at a rate of 3 ten-thousandths of an inch per year. The 1/8 of an inch on moon dust implies a young moon, not 5 billion year old moon. Evidence is from Earth's atmosphere. Here, atmospheric helium. Atmospheric heliums come from radioactive decay of uranium and thorium. They emit alpha particles, helium nuclei, as well as alpha particles from the sun. Although hydrogen can escape Earth's atmosphere, helium can't. And then it gives a bunch of things. It says years to reach present helium level, equals present mass of helium, rate of helium formation per year, which is 3.5 times 10^15 means kilograms helium. Helium over 3.5 times 1011 kilograms helium formed, PA, equals 11,600 years to reach present levels. If Earth were 4 billion years old, there would be 400,000 times more helium in the atmosphere. Where is it? This date of 11,600 years is closer to the biblical age of Earth of 6,000 years. There's evidences from Earth's surface. Where's some fun one? Okay. Oil well pressure. Oil well pressure. Where when oil drillers first penetrate oil wells, oil gushes out because of the oil and gas is under great pressure from surrounding rock. Next, sedimentary rocks surrounding the oil wells are porous. Studies of these show that the oil would seep out before 100,000 years, but this has not happened. This great oil pressure argues strongly against millions of years age for oil wells implies an age of oil of around 10,000 years. Oil, coal, and gas were formed during the Great Flood 4,400 years ago. Oh, that's a rough estimate. Yeah, and then there's another one. Evidences from oceans. Sea ooze. Sea ooze. As the fish and ocean plants die, they fall to the bottom and form an ooze, or very soft mud on the ocean floor at a rate of 1 inch every 1,000 to 500 years. Measuring the depth of this ooze indicates a young Earth. Evidences from living things. The oldest living things are bristlecone pines growing in eastern Nevada, aged about 4,600 years old, sometimes producing 2 growth rings per year, so their age would be less. And Sequoia gigantea in the Sierra Nevada mountains, which are never older than about 4,000 years. These giant redwoods have no known enemies and never have any dead trees among them. Unless man cuts them down, they never seem to die. 17 bristlecone pines are dated about 4,000 years old. Since the flood occurred about 2,418 BC, this implies that A, all the pre-flood sequoias and bristlecones were wiped out by the flood, and B, there is no record of any living tree older than the flood. That literally proves. Dinosaur DNA. Everyone's big favorite topic. I like dinosaur DNA. Dinosaur DNA is so rare that the first sample was discovered in 1995. DNA decomposes soon after the specimen dies. There is no known way for DNA to survive for 70 million years. It's interesting, isn't it? And a lot of stuff that circulates around, and there's tons of pages. I didn't count how many, but I guess probably 40 pages of things supporting everything. And then when we get to the flood, there's also some things for the flood in here as well. Well, it's amazing. And this literally has answers for everything you would be able to ask. But how did we come from believing what the Bible says about creation to evolution? Because man doesn't want to believe it. But if we as Christians would be able to teach this to people, show them yes, God made everything. We're not just an explosion that happened. And we're here for a reason. God told us why He made us. How He made us, so that way we can worship Him. Now, an interesting fact before I end this, if we notice at the beginning, the very first verse says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." Alright, this is an interesting thing. If we turn to the last book of the Bible, Revelation, which we might get to eventually. I have to do a lot more research into Revelation, but it's a very interesting book. But it's the last book of the Bible. Well, if we look at Revelation chapter 4, verse 11, it says, actually, let's go back to verse 10, and I'll give a little backstory. Right. John, the person who wrote the book of Revelation, is receiving visions from God. He's on the Isle of Patmos in exile because of believing in Christ. Right, but God allowed him to see things that no man has ever seen before, or no one will ever see until we get to heaven. But God allowed him on earth to see these visions and what heaven will be like. And God told him, write it down and then send it to the churches. So he wrote this, and he says in verse 10, in Revelation 4, verse 10, and he's in heaven, he's seeing this. It says, the 24 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne, and worship him that liveth for ever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. I found this interesting that literally the first verse of the Bible says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. One of the last things God says to us is I created everything, and for my pleasure, or they are created, and they were created. They were created way back then, and they're created now. I just found that an interesting little thing, and how God made everything. And God said and He made it, and and it is possible. Well, a thing I heard was I don't remember who said it, but somebody said it, or I heard it from something. It said, as somebody met an evolution, and he said this guy was a Christian. He met an evolutionist. Evolutionist is like I'm an evolutionist. The guy goes, well, the Christian goes, well, you have more faith than me. Maybe because what you believe requires way more faith than what I believe. If you believe everything happened from nothing, I believe God made everything. And your faith is way stronger than mine. That's kind of sad. It's sad that a person who believes literally Earth happened out of nothing can have more faith than a Christian. I mean, I believe God made the earth and everything that there is, and that He has a purpose for everything. This is the story of creation. Day 1, God created the day and the night. Day 2, God made basically a outer space and some regular space. Day 3, He made the dry land and the sea. And the grass and the trees, all on day 3. The grass, trees, and seas. The land, the sea, and the trees and grass. Day 4, He created the sun, moon, and stars. Or day 5, He created the fish and the birds. Day 6, He created the land animals, and He created man. And day 7, God rested. That's the creation story. Alright, I'll see you all next time on the next episode of Bible Basics.